Welcome to the Multiply Your Success podcast, where each week we help growth-minded entrepreneurs and franchise leaders take the next step in their expansion journey. I'm your host, Tom Dufour, CEO of Big Sky Franchise Team, and as we open today, I'm wondering if you have discovered what truly matters to you. Or maybe asked another way, what is your passion or purpose that motivates and drives you? Well, our guest today is Hoss Notarkesh, and he shares with us his passion discovery framework. Now, Hoss is an executive business coach and Tony Robbins certified life strategist. Hoss's coaching passion has been fostered through his 17 years of senior corporate healthcare executive career. In his last role, he was responsible for a team of more than 3,000 people, including 9 executives, over 100 directors, and roughly 3,000 frontline staff. Hoss owns and supports businesses on 3 continents. You're going to love this interview, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'd love for you to talk through your journey of how you came to kind of bridging this whole idea of philosophy, neuroscience, action, optimal growth. How did you end up getting to this point here?
Fair question. First of all, it's lovely to be here, Tom. You know, you've done quite a bit of work. I appreciate what you've been doing. So what it is that I think my background, I'm a microbiologist by practice, and I have a master of business. My background is healthcare, and I'm a former corporate healthcare executive. But what it is so back in 2012, 13, I had a little bit of a short checklist like any other one in North America and any part of the world probably. And that thing, you're hitting those, I would say, milestones of like financial gains and, education and career achievements, your dating, whatever that is, your fitness goals. So I kind of hit in my best ability. Again, I had probably I was a 7-figure. Yeah, I could say that. Again, it was quite a bit back in the day, I would say. Then, I thought that would give me all the happiness that I want. And it wasn't like that. I was a party animal for sure. I had a lot of good friends and whatever. But, definitely shallow to some degree because, when I sensed that, the despair was kind of growing in me, but I didn't know where was that coming from, because technically when that happens, you look, through your self-reflection to the best of your ability to realize, hey, listen, you know what am I missing out that is not giving me the happiness? So anyway, to be more included, I had a decent sized house, sold the house, got a penthouse to be more included and to be a little bit more around people. Not that I was a loser. I already had like many different locations in the corporation that I was working with. And I was serving a lot of individuals in the domain of, senior living and healthcare. But, I want to be changing the scene to see if that will help me out. Got a penthouse, sunrise to sunset view, at a gorgeous high ceiling, decked it out that to the best of my ability. And you can see my background. That's my office. So award-winning office. I have a little bit of a style and taste too when it comes to design. Not that I'm proud of it, but at the time, that a phase of life that I was at, even Playboy reached out, booked a place, flew in their models to shoot a scene there. And again, you think that would make a boy happy, especially when it comes to that kind of what they call a status seeking, significance seeking phase of your life. I'm not even 30 at that point. So what I'm saying is that, man, like shortly after I realized nothing really is working. Like you're not really feeling the life. Like, life is like slipping through your fingers. And I'm supposed to be the one who's feeling it because all my buddies were like to some degree feeling like, dude, you got like A, B, C, D. That must make you feel happy, And my compulsive dating behavior didn't really help either. That's when you're hitting rock bottom. That's the dark night of soul. In my book, I talk about it. And I go, listen, then you don't know where to turn. So one evening, I think again, I felt, what if I ended all with one last fly off the balcony? And I think that was like that moment of that's too far out. So again, on the professional side, my corporate role was hitting new ground every month almost because, I was good at what I was doing. So, but again, and I was already entrepreneur from my personal side because, I was into real estate and some other stuff. So things were from like, I would say surface, it looked pretty decent. But man, when the life is not being felt through the dimension that you're experiencing and you're hoping to experience, it's sad. So again, I closed the door, quit my job. I soul searched for 2 years, traveled quite a bit. I got into neuroscience to understand what is really missing. Like, that is the biggest puzzle was that what is missing here, the mystery of like understanding and connection within life. So psychiatry and psychology was big for me to bridge them together. So I studied them like day and night. Like, this is what I'm doing, traveling, but day and night I'm studying all about these stuff. So quantum physics to understand like the unseen world, if you will. So, and then again, through that, I got to know a lot of cool people from like different religions, and they were happy. Judaism was the number one I studied deeply. And again, the all Abrahamic religions, obviously, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, I really dove hard on them to see what are they all about. And again, I learned the fact that some of these beautiful souls, they don't have much to live on, but they are so happy. So there must be something in there. So again, I started living like, almost an Orthodox Jew for a few months to see what does it feel like. And again, I loved it. There's so much that I learned about it, but then I got into Buddhism as well. I learned about that as well. But one thing that really got me to feel the life again was transcendental meditation. So deep in woods, I would go out there, I get lost, and man, I would get into it. So that was the beginning of my understanding of quantum field. It was all about the unified field, the consciousness. And that was all about me understanding life from different perspectives. Man, by the time I got back to Toronto and I said, listen, man, I'm going to live my life as if I'm going to die tomorrow. There's no way I'm going to wait until God knows how old I am to fulfill my, bucket list. I'm going to get a private beach estate. I'm going to live my life the way I want it. So that's how it happened. So I love Toronto. Obviously, I still go to Toronto often. I have a lot of clients in Toronto. I have a lot of business in Toronto myself as well. But again, I live like 2.5 hours north of Toronto. I have a waterfront the state, beautiful neighborhood, gorgeous city. It's called the Bay, and I love them. It's just a lot of lovely people out here. And I've been living my life since then, to be honest with you. And I got into executive business coaching, and I came with the passion discovery at that point, because I said, if I'm miserable, God knows who else who is not having some of these materialistic stuff, and they're in that significant seeking phase of their life, what they are feeling. So what I'm trying to say is, though, then I hired, I would just say psychologists, and then some other folks who were my coaches to help me to put it together. It's a proprietary process. In global, is trademarked to me through US. So it's one of the kind. For those of you who are into business, you know how much it costs to get a trademark on the word passion discovery, because it's such a common thing, right? So yeah, through that process, we serve a lot of executives, entrepreneurs, and athletes. They're all high achievers. So that's the goal. And then that's how we got into it. So Dr. Ryan is the lead scientist of the VIA Institute, which they are the most scientifically proven assessment in the world for character strength analysis. He's my coach as well. We work with him too. And again, many other coaches we work with. And honestly, everybody who is doing what we're doing at my firm, one way or another, not only they are high achievers, but also they have experienced what I've experienced. It's not like I just had a client here, just left. And what happens? They come here and they see the office and everything else. It's not a theory behind the business we do. We live and breathe. I hustle through business every single day. I have my own businesses that we run and we support. Then we support these high achievers. It's not that, I read a few books and I say, guess what? This is how it's done. We live and breathe this thing. So passion discovery is honestly, we call it as a biohack to selective attention, because we deliver that, through the process that we're going to talk about eventually.
I love it. I thank you for sharing the journey and the story. What a journey you went through. And I know that's our audience, right? These are successful entrepreneurs, business leaders, executives, right? The kinds of folks that are tuning into this. You mentioned that passion discovery framework that you came up with in this process. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that and what that looks like, how you work with that maybe with some of your clients, or help some high achievers that maybe had a passion and while they were achieving either lost the passion, or maybe it changed a little bit, or maybe they reached a successful milestone and turned back around, kind of like what you did when you said, well, I kind of have achieved or had all of this success along the way, but there's maybe some emptiness, or there's not that fulfillment maybe that you were hoping to feel at that moment. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, man, you nail it. So often what happens is most of my athletes, so we have some, national and international athletes, Olympic gold medalists, some of the solidest of all the athletes we have here, that, they have that gold medal. And then, now they lost the touch with life. Now they have achieved their personal goals and they don't really feel the life they want. I have 80% of my clients are females, and they're all high achievers. Obviously there's a reason they hire my services. And what happens is that Same thing again. They have sacrificed quite a bit for sake of achieving what they thought it would be meaningful and then give them the purpose. But now they have it and they're not really feeling the fulfillment and intrinsic reward. So what it comes down to is that, we need to understand that many of us, like, most of the audience, if they're high achievers, they drive probably nice, fancy, cars, designer clothing, whatever. I do it as well. But at this point and this phase of my life, I don't do it for significant seeking. It's more appreciation of the art, the utility of it. There are custom cars, there are custom clothes, custom stuff like that. But again, is it for sake of the appreciation of the art and the artist to give the life to it, if you will? What I'm trying to say is, though, the utility of these passions becomes the essence of life that we have missed out on. With these individuals, I help to really dive deep into it, that what does it really mean to you as who you are deep down, rather than what it looks like from outside. And this is how I simplify. When we are until the age of, so very quickly, when we're born into delta brainwave, which is like around 0 to 4 cycles per second. So your brain is in sleeping mode as a baby until a year and a half. You don't know nothing about outside. You're sleeping mode. You're really understanding what's happening. You're bringing that, equilibrium all together. From a year and a half to 6 years in hypnosis, 4 cycles per second to 8 cycles per second, the inner world is rather than outer world. So from like around the age of 4 to 8 to 12, around that age, your brain, like imagine your cycle per second is from like now 7.8 or 8 cycle per second to 12 cycle per second. That is when it is alpha brainwave. That is the magic. That is when you feel the inner world and outer world is real and you feel everything is possible. And the only thing that's between you and your reality is a matter of time. So what happens? That is a time when you believe the fact I become the best NBA player, best astronaut, land on undiscovered planets, the scientist, the ballet dancer, you name it. But around the age of 11, 12 years, the prefrontal cortex start, that's the crown of human achievement. That is still, exponentially growing fast. That's when you get into the beta brainwave, which is like 12 cycles per second and above. Human brain is not fully developed until age of 25. That age is the age that you're gonna learn that analytical mind and judgment, but it's a double-edged sword. It cuts outward and inward, meaning you learn more about outside, but also cuts through as well. What happens is that at that point, this is your natural version of you. I've always put it this way. So this is natural version of you. I'm just going to take a step back there. So this is your heart. This is when you're deep within your essence. Then what happens, this one is adopted version of you, meaning that this is the face, the mask that you want to put on for society. This is the one that it becomes your persona. This is the one that you think, oh, I got to become this person to achieve these things to make me this, this emotion. What happens from the age of, again, 11, 12, you start basically separating yourself from the deep essence from within. And then you start adopting new behaviors that is more aligned with that persona. Again, 1 year at a time, 1 year at a time. The degree of your separation is a true reflection of your ego you develop that becomes your persona along the way. So until the age of from 35 to 40 some, you are now at that point, you realize enough is enough. I thought I'm going to be achieving everything that is going to give me the true meaning to be happy as I can be. But right now I'm miserable as fuck. I've achieved whatever I thought, my checklist, my blueprint, but it's not giving me the happiness. The gold medal that you were going to get, the executive role that you want to get, the money through your entrepreneurship, those social status that you want to have it, the education. Some people that have 2 PhDs, for God's sake, you think they're happy, but they reflect back and they realize what they have lost through the process. So what I'm trying to say is that this space between the natural version of you, which is adopted version of you, when you come to your senses and you realize, okay, man, you know what? I'm going to be so accepting myself. The degree of this space is the same degree of the fakeness that you have gone through as a form of self-betrayal. Everything you have achieved through your life is as a result of that betrayal. Because you're a high achiever yourself, Tom, so as me. So basically, we have betrayed ourselves to a degree to achieve, we all have what we have achieved. But at one point, you start saying, though, you know what, I'm not really truly feeling the love of life that I was expecting at this phase of life. Then you start accepting yourself for who you have become through your journey. That's the key. Then one step at a time, you come closer to your true essence. That takes time. That's shedding the skin. That's the Ouroboros. That's eating your tail. That's the individuation by Carl Jung. That is when you become trying to become one with yourself, the true values that you have within you. So the degree of rejection from others is the hallmark of your progress in your self-acceptance. Because again, whoever you have become at this point in your persona, which is in this phase, my right hand on the top, that is the persona you put on for social mask. That is the person that became to entertain so and so's idea and ideology, not you. So when you become more of you, obviously they don't connect with this version of you anymore. It's no fault of theirs. It's not judgment against them, but they don't like this Tom because this clown is not the one that who used to entertain them for sake of their happiness. Now you're becoming one with yourself. Through many years, you go through ego disillusion. The ego disillusion is a closing the gap, become one with you. When you become one with you, that is when you become one with the essence. That's when you serve the life and form of synchronicity. That's when you realize you're at the right time, right place, saying the right things and doing the right things. That is happening simultaneously without any effort. That's what I mean by when you realize these high achievers, when they reach out to you, they have gone through almost the same. Now they're on the path of coming back to their true essence. Passion discovery is all about that. And when I say is the biohack to selective attention is because attention is a currency of consciousness. What is the most expensive commodity in the world, Tom, right now? Even more precious than any of the diamond, gold, and anything else. And that is what you are doing right now with your podcast. You're trying to bring the most valuable content to your audience to get their attention. Their attention will give you what you're hoping to get, which is a lot of things, but definitely as a byproduct of it, it's going to be profitability. Am I right? That's what it comes down to. Attention has a price. American attention and Canadian attention, European attention versus different attention is a different price for it. Attention is a currency of consciousness, meaning if you can hone down your attention to do what you want to do, you are going to be invincible. You become that Michelangelo. You become whoever you want to become if you can just really bring it down. So that's what I mean by that. Selective attention is that biohack. Then your attention is honed down to the task at hand. So passion discovery, not necessarily mean though it used to be a doctor. First of all, I had many doctors that they left behind their physician world. Now they're doing something else. What happens is not necessarily that is the case, but you're going to at least know more about yourself and your true passion from within, that you connect with it from within rather than, oh, this car or this office, this house, this muscle or social status means A, B, C, D. There's no interpretation anymore. You feel it. You become one with it. So that's basically the essence of passion discovery. And that's why I have had a chance to serve all of these high achievers, executives, athletes, and entrepreneurs through their journey, because we get through the egoistic behaviors that becomes the obstacle in your way that eventually you realize, I got nothing to prove here. Why would I really overcome these obstacles that it was projected by my ego in the first place? It doesn't matter. The byproduct of your love for that mastercraft, it will become your success. Does it make sense?
It absolutely makes sense, for sure. Thank you for, walking through and giving an overview on that. And when someone, I guess, starts going through this, as you've described, what are maybe some common obstacles that they might run into, or that you maybe see your clients struggle with as they start to get into this?
It comes at the cost of you letting your old self die. And that's painful. That's definitely that piece, that wandering desert phase, that from the old self to become the new self is painful. That's why it's not for everybody. It's just it is something that, because you're giving up everything you have ever become, like you were, and through that what they call goal setting. Am I right? Like you thought this will make you happy, that persona, that whatever the status that you were working on. So what happens is though, when you are not really feeling it anymore, it comes to the point that you have to choose, oh, you know what though, I'm going to give up everything that I've ever become for a destination that I've never experienced, the unknown, exploring something that I'd never thought it would give me the satisfaction, because most people around you didn't do it. Most people, like 55% of North American people don't like what they do because they are scared of the unknown. So they stick with that thing. They say, I'd rather to do a job that I'm unhappy rather than do something that is, I don't know what would we look like. That's such an unknown. So what is it? 60% of marriages are miserable. They don't leave the partner. Why is that? Just because, again, they say, what is it? The devil that I know is better than the one that I don't. So what a miserable life, for God's sake. So what I'm saying is, though, it's not easy. What I'm proposing is not for everyone. It's a hero journey. You're familiar with that. It's a hero journey. You got to let the old self die to become that through the ashes. The phoenix rise above the ashes. So what I'm saying is, though, through the process, we have obviously our own, supports that would help you to navigate through that process. But no matter what, it's going to be definitely torturous in many ways, because we have our own ways up. So we have to cut back on sugar. There's definitely cold plunging. We have our own biohacks, integrated body trainings, many things that will help you through the process. But it's still, you got to go through the process. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
How can someone learn more about what you're doing and get connected with you?
Oh, I appreciate the question, Tom. So yeah, passiondiscovery.ca. It's simple, passiondiscovery.ca. So that's what it is. So, and again, usually, on our social media, Hoss usually is a very, what do you call it? I would say rare name. So if you Google me as well, Hoss Executive Business Coach, also I come up as well on Google. And then all our social media is the same thing, Hoss. I'm an executive coach, and Passion Discovery is something that's the program that I'm referring to.
Oh, this is a great time in the show, and we make a transition, and we ask every guest the same 4 questions before they go. And the first question we ask is, have you had a miss or two on your journey and something you learned from it?
Oh my God, yeah, man. I miss it. It's hard to pick from because I miss a lot, quite a bit. But one of them was I landed my first keynote speaking, and I prepared for that thing for so long. It was this right through the COVID. It was big. I would blow it. They loved it. They became number one through the whole thing. That the whole conference was like 4 or 5 days. My session was the most favorite one, as per the CEO's comment on Google review on my Google. But man, I blew it because I jam my content so much. Like right now, when I go back, if I would have done the same geek, I would have done maybe just 1/5 of it, if even. I jammed it, and my ego, though, I'm all right. Like I'm trying to prove it, come out and say how it's done. Man, that was a miss. And then following 6 months later, I landed another gig, same approach. I said, you know what? I jammed all the content into 1 hour. And again, people loved it. But when I look back right now, so Coach Steph, she's the founder and the president of Speak by Design University. She's my coach. And then when she watches, she goes, what were you thinking you were doing? So what I'm saying is, man, sometimes when you're super excited, and also some of your egoistic approach that is subconsciously is trying to, to get better of you, and then you come out and then you overdo it. So yeah, man.
Let's talk about on the other side, a make or a win or a highlight or two you'd like to share.
Yeah, I think, you know what, though, one of the things that I'm most proud of is that I prepared with Coach Steph. She prepared with me. And again, these are thousands of dollars of, coaching one-on-one, because some of these coaches are very, pricey for what they do, obviously. And, it goes without saying. I prepared a speech for 700 people, and then I prepared for months. And then I practiced it, blah, blah, go up there. And man, the night before the speech, I threw it all apart. I said, no way. I threw it away. I said, there's no way I'm going to be doing it. I would do what my heart and my desire is going to say. I'm not going to do it for the sake of business. I'm going to get up there and I'm going to say what I feel about it. And it turned out to be just awesome, because again, I let it out just the way that it spoke to my heart. And I'm so proud of that move. And I honestly carry the same momentum for any of my other talks afterwards. And, I became more personable. I connect with people more genuinely. I actually, and I'm discovering that every single day, every breath that I take, I'm trying to, again, become more authentic version of myself as much as possible. So that was a big win for me. Again, I'm not measuring it from the conversions or more leads or whatever we got after it. No, it was a true feeling of the liberation that I felt on that stage. Yeah, I loved it.
And it's interesting sharing the contrast where you were really almost maybe over prepared or making it too processed, right? That it was too processed and you realize, wait, this is not what the audience they need to hear. So I love that you followed that. The name of the show is Multiply Your Success. And the next question we ask is, have you used a multiplier to grow yourself personally, professionally, or any of the organizations you've run?
No, for sure. Yeah, in my past role, as a former corporate executive, so I think, a lot of great stuff for sure. There were that's what Zen Team Building was born. ZenTeamBuilding.com is one of our best-selling product. We help a lot of organizations and healthcare settings and again non-healthcare settings with that program. That's for sure. But also though personally, all my biohacks are very simple. Like the first one is meditation, then it's cold plunge. We designed a new cold plunge that's going to be launched very soon as well. So it's definitely meditation, cold plunge, fasting. I usually fast like 20 hours, 22 hours a day. So sugar cut back. And then I had 22 years of drinking lifestyle that I enjoyed every single of it. No more drinking. I haven't been drinking for years. Smoking, quit smoking for 20 years. So many of these habits that used to give me that what they call temporary, I would say, satisfaction. None of those happen. So yeah, I would say those are my biohacks. So integrating mind training, which is yoga and Pilates and some other ones that you connect with it as well. Also, it will help you to, again, they're all multiple factor. And again, when you're talking about these multiply factors, I think what happens intrinsically, they're so, what do you call it, meaningful to you as a byproduct that when you can see it also in your bank account. That's what it comes down to. So yeah, for me, if I was going to just again repeat it again, so it would be cold plunge, meditation, fasting, and then again, sugar cut back, no alcohol, no other drugs, anything else that used to be fun for so many years, and then definitely come to yoga and some other integrated body mind training.
The final question we ask every guest is, what does success mean to you?
Yeah, I love that question. You know what? I'm going to cheat here. So success to me is to be at the right time, at the right place to do the same right things. So that's to me is a success. And in a true meaning of it is synchronicity. You live and breathe synchronicity, meaning you are where you're supposed to be at that time, in that place, to do and say what you're supposed to say. That's truly a success. And I said I cheated because that's from Dr. Jordan Peterson. So I added my version to it, but the deep soul of it is from him. And I love it how when he said it, I've been a student of his for very many years. So yeah, when you are at the right, and again, every time that you might have your own version of it, but when you peel it off, they all come down to that. You're at the right time, at the right place, to do and say the right things. I think that's what it comes down to no matter what. That's the book, basically. It's a mighty book. It's called The Journey of Consciousness. And the subtitle is The Path of Least Resistance to Ego Dissolution. So there are a lot of personal anecdotes here. There are a lot of individuals who have gone through the journey with us. If you have a chance to read it, and all the proceeds, all the money from the book goes to an account that helps individuals and the corporations to reach their full potential. So that's what it is.
Where can someone get a copy of the book?
Yeah, passiondiscovery.ca. It will be halfway through. You will see it. You will see it there. And right now, with our publisher, is printed and published in US. And right now they are actually tweaking some of the launch on that as well. But when you go on passiondiscovery.ca, there is a link and then the book in there. And yeah, I hope that it's not a lot of pages because. What is it? Took us 3 years to edit it with 2 top editors and to really bring it down, keep the gold in there. So at least, people, when you're reading every page, it will mean something to them. Anybody gets to if they get to, if there's an F, because there's an F, if you get to chapter 7, which is the last chapter, it's impossible you will be the same person. Just because, yeah, the first 4 or 5 pages warm up, but that's definitely chapter 6 and 7. You can write to me and say, hey, dude, I read this book. I'm still the same person that I pick up the book and I give you $1,000. Here's a record right here on this podcast. Hold me to it. I'll give you $1,000.
Before we go, is there anything you were maybe hoping to share that you haven't had a chance to yet?
At the end of the day, I want to wish everybody best of luck in their journey. And I want to, I contributed my book to everyone who are ordinary and they're letting their old self die for the sake of their masterpiece to become their legendary self. Every single one out there is doing that in their own capacity. Keep up the great work. There are going to be some setbacks along the way, but that's the price to pay. And that's what makes the life not only living for, but dying for. We got only one life. Let's live it like we mean it.
Hoss, thank you for a fantastic interview. And let's go ahead and jump into today's 3 key takeaways. So takeaway number 1 is when he talked about deciding that he was going to live his life as if he were going to die tomorrow. Essentially, really seeking and pursuing what is of greatest interest and passion for him. Takeaway number 2, he talked about the most valuable commodity in the world being attention. Your attention, my attention, getting the attention of our customers, and so on. Takeaway number 3 is when he talked about a multiplier for him is when he gave up these temporary joys that come in his life in the form of what he was doing at the time. He was smoking and drinking and eating sugar and lots of other things that he did, and decided he was going to implement a better body and mind training. And now it's time for today's win-win. So today's win-win comes at the end of the episode when he talked about what success means to him. And he said it's to be at the right time, at the right place, to do and say the right thing. And really for him, he summarized it as saying synchronicity and being in sync and synchronized with himself, his purpose, his plan, all of the things that he wants to do. And I think that's a great reminder for all of us, just to really be thinking about, am I in a rhythm, in sync, or am I trying to force something to happen or force something that doesn't seem to flow? And I think that recognition is a great way to close the podcast today. So that's the episode today, folks. Please make sure you subscribe to the podcast and give us a review. And remember, if you or anyone you know are ready to franchise their business or take their franchise company to the next level, please connect with us at BigSkyFranchiseTeam.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to having you back next week.